welcome back to the TackleShare YouTube channel. It's Alicia with the TackleShare program. Today's video is going to be all about channel catfish. We're talking identification, habitat, and fishing tips, and a whole bunch more. Check it out. All of the information for today's video can be found online at TackleShare.com/resources. We've uploaded fish fact sheets ready for you to download and keep readily handy and available should you want to know more. But all of it's in this video, so let's get to it. All right, so now we're going to talk about a few of the key identifying features of the channel catfish. You're going to know it has this very long, elongated body that is smooth, has no scales, a very flat head that has 8 barbels. Each one of these are called barbels. There will be 4 underneath the chin, 2 on the top of the nose there, and then 1 at each corner of the mouth. So that is some key identifying features for the channel catfish. You'll also notice that it has a very deeply forked tail. That is the forked tail of the channel catfish. In comparison to a very similar species called the brown bullhead, that's the other catfish in Ontario, the brown bullhead's tail does not have a fork. The channel catfish, they prefer, cooler, deeper water with like a sandy or a gravel or light pebbly bottom to them because that's where they're gonna hang out. They're gonna linger around on the bottom. They also like lakes or, moderate water systems that have rivers feeding into them. They're often found in areas that do have high current because they're waiting for, that food presentation to swim on by. They can be, found in like areas where there's lots of vegetation. You can also see them hiding in riverbank holes or logs or any sort of rocky areas. They spawn in the late spring and into the summer when the temperature really gets fairly warm. So the water needs to be around 24 to about 30 degrees, and that's when they're gonna be spawning. They prefer to do that in rivers and secluded areas, undercut banks, under log, places where they can hide and really be secluded. Females that are around, a pound to 4 pounds can produce approximately 4,000 eggs each. And it takes about 5 to 10 days for those eggs to hatch. But after they've hatched, they stay and they linger around on the bottom for another, 2 or 5 days. And then they start to mature enough that they can start swimming around, they go to the surface, and they start to feed. Catfish typically target aquatic insects, crayfish, other fish, as well as algae. They tend to feed at night and during the day because they're laying down low on the bottom of that riverbed or water system. The maximum age is around 24 years. They really can get fairly old, and typically you'll see them around 9 to 18 inches long. This record we have right here is by far an example of a mammoth channel catfish, and it weighs about 33.36 pounds and measures 39.25 inches long. This is a mammoth catfish, and this is the current Ontario record at the time that we're doing this recording. Of course, if anyone ever, if you catch an Ontario record, make sure you go to the Record Fish Registry website, get all that information in the description below, and make sure you submit your catch. We want to see these remarkable fish. So if you're going to be targeting channel catfish, the best time to invest your resources is around the evening to early night. Fish, you're going to present your lure on the bottom of the areas, where there's a little bit of current and cover, like sunken logs, rocky areas, and undercuts. Try using a balled up worm wrapped around on a hook, any sort of stink baits, or a large dead minnow that's going to have a lot of set, that's going to attract them. If you are in an area that has a bit of current, make sure that you have weights on to keep that bait down and near the bottom, because that fish is going to come by and suck it back. It's not going to be in suspended water. You want it on the actual bottom. Make sure that you use circle hooks to avoid injuring that fish. And while you do have that, your worm or whatever your lure presentation will be on the bottom, using a bobber is really going to aid you and give you that extra visual advantage to know when something has sucked back that your hook. You don't want to set the hook too soon because you need to give it time to pull it back far enough into its mouth for you to set the hook. These fish are gonna be on the bottom in areas where there's some current and cover, like sunken logs. You wanna have a bank area, rock piles, anything like that. They're gonna be laying weight, or little holes. They're gonna be hiding, and make sure that you're giving that presentation to them. Be patient. Fishing for catfish takes time, and it will definitely pay off. You wanna make sure you use a heavy action rod. Bait casters are great for this, and you want to make sure you have a strong line, because if you hook onto a channel catfish like this, they're going to give you one heck of a ride. As always, with this species or any other species really, when you're fishing in Ontario, absolutely do your due diligence and make sure that you can legally fish for that species in that zone during that time period. You definitely want to make sure that you're following the fishing regulations. I'll put a link for that in the description below. All right, that sums up our all about the channel catfish. Make sure to check out our other videos. We have loads of videos to help you learn more about fishing. Make sure to hit that like button, tap subscribe, and ding that notification bell so you know when we have more content posted. See you next time.